At 4:45 in the morning, while most of Europe was still asleep, a single order traveled down a chain of telephone wires into the heart of a German battleship anchored in a quiet Polish harbor. 11 words were all it took. Within minutes, the sky over a small peninsula called Westerplatte would split open with fire, and the 20th century would never be the same again. This is the story of the day the world ended, and the day a new one began. Imagine the world on August 31st, 1939. Children are walking to school in Warsaw. Farmers are bringing in the late summer harvest along the Polish countryside. In Berlin, soldiers are polishing boots and checking maps by candlelight, unaware, or perhaps painfully aware, that history has already decided what tomorrow will bring. For 6 years, the man at the center of German power had been rebuilding an army the world was told no longer existed. He had marched into the Rhineland. He had swallowed Austria without firing a shot. He had taken Czechoslovakia piece by piece, promising each time that this would be his last demand. It never was. Now his eyes had turned east, toward a nation caught between two ruthless ideologies. A country that had only existed in its modern form for 21 years. Reborn from the ashes of empires after the first great war that was supposed to end all wars. Poland did not know it yet, but it was about to become the place where the next one began. Tonight, we go back, hour by hour, minute by minute, to relive the day the guns of September opened fire, and the fragile peace of a generation shattered forever. As darkness falls over the German-Polish border, a strange convoy of trucks rolls toward a small radio station in the town of Gliwice. The men inside wear Polish uniforms. They are not Polish. They are German SS operatives, carrying out one of the most cynical operations in modern history. A manufactured incident designed to give Adolf Hitler the excuse he has been waiting for. Within the hour, gunshots will ring out at the station. A body dressed in a Polish uniform will be left behind as evidence. A concentration camp prisoner, drugged and murdered for the sole purpose of being found. It is a lie, built to justify an invasion already set in motion days earlier. By the time German radio breathlessly reports a Polish attack on German soil, the real invasion force, over 1.5 million men, more than 2,000 aircraft, and nearly 3,000 tanks, is already moving into position along a border that stretches more than 1,700 miles. The war did not begin with a declaration. It began with a deception. The sun has not yet risen over the Baltic coast when the German battleship Schleswig-Holstein, anchored in the harbor of the free city of Danzig under the polite cover of a friendly port visit, swings its heavy guns toward a small Polish military depot on the Westerplatte Peninsula. The Polish garrison there numbers barely 200 men. At 4:45 a.m., the silence breaks. The ship's 11-inch guns roar to life, sending shockwaves rattling through windows for miles. Smoke and debris erupt skyward as shells tear into Polish fortifications that were never built to withstand naval bombardment. It is meant to be over in minutes. It will not be. For 7 days, this tiny garrison, outnumbered, outgunned, and cut off from any hope of reinforcement, will refuse to surrender, becoming one of the first symbols of Polish resistance in a war that has only just begun. Further south, at almost the exact same moment, German aircraft scream low over Polish towns. The Luftwaffe's first major campaign of the war Case White has begun, with bombers targeting airfields, railways, bridges, and communication lines in a devastating new style of warfare the world has not yet learned to fear. It will soon have a name: Blitzkrieg, Lightning War. In Warsaw, the morning begins like any other. Trams rattle through cobblestone streets, bakeries open their shutters. Newspaper boys shout headlines about rising tensions, but tensions have been rising for months. Surely, people tell themselves, surely it will pass, the way it always has before. Then the air raid sirens begin.
It is nothing.
At first, some mistake it for a drill. Poland has practiced this before. But within minutes, the unmistakable drone of aircraft engines fills the sky, and German dive bombers begin their descent over the Polish capital. The Junkers Ju-87, soon to become one of the most feared aircraft of the war, has been fitted with a chilling innovation: a wailing siren mounted to its wings, designed purely to terrorize anyone below as the plane dives toward its target. Survivors will later describe the sound as something out of a nightmare, a scream from the sky itself, growing louder in the seconds before the bombs fall. Smoke rises over residential streets that have never known war. Families who had children playing in courtyards minutes earlier now huddle in basements, listening to a city being torn apart above them. This is not a battlefield far from home. This is home. And it is only the first morning of nearly 6 years of fire that will sweep across the entire world. By midday, the scale of the assault becomes clear. Germany has not launched a limited strike or a border skirmish. This is a full invasion. 5 separate army groups pouring across Poland's frontiers from the north, west, and south, supported by an air force more advanced and more ruthless than anything the world has yet witnessed in combat. Polish forces, brave but desperately outmatched, attempt to organize a defense along a border so long it is almost impossible to protect. Polish cavalry, among the best trained and most disciplined in Europe, prepare to face an enemy equipped with armored divisions and mechanized infantry. A myth will later spread, persistent and false, that Polish cavalrymen charged German tanks with little more than sabers and desperation. The reality is more complicated, and in many ways more tragic. Polish cavalry were a mobile, modern fighting force, often more effective than their reputation suggests. But no amount of skill or courage could compensate for what they were up against. Within the German military command, a new philosophy of warfare is being tested in real time. Strike fast. Strike from the air and the ground simultaneously. Break the enemy's ability to communicate and coordinate before they can mount a real defense. It is brutal, it is efficient, and it is working. Word of the invasion spreads quickly across Europe, through radio broadcasts, through telegrams, through diplomats rushing between offices in London, Paris, and Washington.
This is London calling. We are facing a moment of great gravity.
Uwaga! Uwaga! Ogłaszam stan wojny!